Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Out of the Park Baseball 24 playthrough of the Buffalo Wings. We have finally made it to opening day of the 2034 baseball season. And you know what that means. We're going to be playing out a game today against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And it's going to be an interesting game for us because we're going to be going up against a left-handed pitcher on opening day. So we're not going to have this lineup that is our typical lineup against right-handed pitchers today. Adley Rutschman is going to be on the bench because we are starting Andres Medina as our catcher against left-handed pitching. Cam Collier is going to be out of the lineup. Juan Estrada is going to be out of the lineup. And Bobby Bolig is going to be out of the lineup. And it's real interesting that the left-handed hitter Bobby Bolig is going to be out of the lineup against the left-handed pitcher Zane Adams. Because you may remember that in our trade for Bolig a year ago, Zane Adams is one of the key guys that we gave up. And it looks like the Pirates have actually turned him into a starter. And he was pretty effective last year, 12-7 with a 3.27 ERA and a 3.3 WAR. We definitely had to give up a lot to bring Bolig on board. Bolig did end up having a nice year for us. Hit 271 with 21 homers and 85 ribbies. Still think he's going to be a really important bat for us for years to come. But it's going to be an interesting test for us to see what we can do against the left-handed pitcher Zane Adams. If you didn't watch the end of our last episode, the preseason predictions have us projected to win 98 games this year, which would be the best record in baseball for a second consecutive season. Not expected to have any of the top pitchers in the league this year, but our big new addition from the offseason, Shamar Jenneret, is expected to have another monster year after being the AL MVP last season. Looks like he's definitely, if he puts up numbers like this, has a chance to win MVP in two different leagues in back-to-back seasons, which would be kind of cool to see. But today is the first step on that journey to hopefully getting close to 100 wins again, hopefully getting back into the playoffs for a seventh straight year. We're going to need to do it without our ace from last season, Chris Sabatka, who in 2 years in Buffalo has tied for the league lead in wins both seasons. Suffered some shoulder inflammation just about a week and a half ago, and he's going to be out for 3 months. And even more concerning about his 3-month absence is what's happened to his ratings this offseason. For a guy who we expected to be one of our top two pitchers for the next few seasons, his ratings seem to have definitely moved in the wrong direction. Hopefully it's something where it's just a unique scouting report, but right now I'm a little concerned with how effective he's going to be when he bounces back from this injury and if he's still going to be a frontline starting pitcher. We certainly have been thinking about trying to add an ace starter for the last several years, and we're going to continue thinking about that during this 2034 season. And particularly if Sabatka comes back late June, early July, hopefully we can get a few starts out of him, figure out exactly what he is and isn't at this point before we get to the trade deadline. And if we need to do something big to bring another top pitcher on board, at least we should have time to do it on the other side of Sabatka's injury and knowing exactly what he looks like. In his absence, our rotation is going to be Sincere Shazier. Used to be one of the top prospects in baseball. Now we're just hoping he is going to be one of the top pitchers in baseball after going 10-3 with a 2.38 ERA and more than a strikeout per inning in the first 23 games of his major league career with us last season. Harleen Susana, Andrew Painter are back. Juan Estrada is back and healthy from an injury. And then Isidro Ochoa, the rookie, also going to be in our rotation. Some of you did notice in the comments to the last episode that Estrada's stamina seems to have just dropped dramatically. I am running another scouting report on him. I hope that's just a bad read, because otherwise he may have to move to the pen for us. He's been a guy who, over the course of his 2 years in Buffalo, we've gotten, 5+ innings per start from him pretty consistently. I don't think he was a guy with 70 or 80 stamina before, but he was certainly, I think, in the 50s. And he did have an injury last year, but I don't think that is the answer. Because the injury, a torn PCL, obviously he needs his legs to pitch, but I don't see why someone's stamina would just drop so dramatically because of that injury. So I'm crossing my fingers that it's just a random event in the game that caused him to lose, I don't know whether it was 15, 20, 25 points in stamina seemingly overnight. I'm sure that's happened to me before in the many hundreds and thousands of hours I've put into this game, and just not something I've probably noticed with pitchers, that their stamina can vary and go up and down. But it certainly seems like it's gone down with Estrada. I am crossing my fingers and knocking on wood that maybe it's just a bad scouting report and it'll be a little better when we find out more about him, because otherwise it's going to be kind of tough to have a 4-inning guy in the rotation. So I hope he at least can get back into the 40s at the very least. But enough about our rotation. Clearly it'll be better if Sobotka comes back and pitches the way he has the last couple of years. And as I said, we're going to keep looking for help. Would still love to add a big-time pitcher into this rotation. And turning our attention to this opening day game, you can see a pretty even split between which players are expected to be better in this game. Looks like we could have a pretty challenging opponent in Pittsburgh. As I mentioned, we are going up against the lefty Zane Adams, former reliever for our Pirates that we traded to pick up Bobby Bolig, who will, since we're facing a lefty, be on the bench today. We're going to get to see the debuts of a few players here in the top of the first. Nate Kimmel is going to be batting second for us against lefties. He's played a couple games in Albany for us this year, and now we've brought him up hopefully for good at this point. Had a monster year in Albany last year, hit .307, 22 doubles, 10 triples, 18 ribbies while stealing 21 bases. He is kind of our poor man's version of Deshaun Seifu. So I think the two of them at the top of the order against lefties is going to be pretty incredible. Tyreek Hardage also going to be making his major league debut, the 24-year-old center fielder. Spent last year in Albany, only played 70 games because he had a couple of injuries, but hit .260 down there with 11 doubles, 14 homers, stole 10 bases. I think with that outfield range, he can be pretty good defensively. Like his speed also, and think he can hopefully, when all is said and done, be a little bit above average as a hitter. And then, of course, the big debut, which we hope to see in the top of the first, because it'll mean that at least one of these guys ahead of him is on base, is Shamar Jenneret. As I mentioned, coming off of a monster season, named the American League MVP last year, hit free agency, and we signed him for a 7-year, $280 million deal, are hoping that he is the offensive piece that we really need to take this Buffalo Wings offense to the next level. And we're playing at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Deshaun Seifu, who's led the National League in steals 6 consecutive years for our Buffalo Wings, going to be leading off against Zane Adams. And the 2034 season is underway. Seifu flies out to right for the first out of the inning. Nate Kimmel making his major league debut. The young left fielder. Little dribbler. And he is out 2-3. So 2 away, and Tyreek Hardage now making his major league debut, the young center fielder. And Hardage singles the other way. So we have a runner on base, and as I mentioned, a third consecutive player making his debut for the Buffalo Wings in the form of Shamar Jenneret, and we are going to let him swing away. Hardage certainly has some speed, but don't want to potentially run ourselves out of an inning with Jenneret up for the first time. And he gives it a ride to center field, but that is the third out of the inning. So no runs here in the top of the first for our Buffalo Wings. And on the mound, Sincere Shazier going up against Stephen Kwan. And Stephen Kwan starts off the Pittsburgh season with a single to left field. Kwan doesn't have a ton of speed. We're not going to worry about throwing over. We will go to double play depth, see if we can coax a double play out of Jackson Merrill here. Not to be the case, though. Merrill singles to center field, so runners on first and second, and Shazier not as sharp as we'd like to see day one of the season. Going after their number 3 hitter, Max Clark, now. And he walks him, so we are clearly in some trouble here with Sincere Shazier starting the season. Bases loaded, nobody out, and their cleanup hitter, Adamaro Schoen, coming up. Going to go back to double play depth. With the bases loaded and no outs, we'd certainly be content to trade a run for 2 outs. I won't say pleased, but we'd be content to do that with the way these first few batters have gone. And Shazier plunks him. So a hit by pitch to drive in the first run of the season for Pittsburgh. And things are getting real ugly for Sincere Shazier. He does strike out the number 5 hitter, so we've got an opportunity now, if he does get a double play ball, to get out of this inning without too much pain, given the way it started, going after Mike Wilson here. And he walks in a run, so a hit by pitch with the bases loaded, and a walk with the bases loaded for Sincere Shazier. A ugly start to the season for the Buffalo Wings. And a single by Elias Cuevas. Looks like that's going to bring in 2 runs. So a 4-0 lead for the Pirates against our Buffalo Wings here in the top of the first. And there's still only 1 out. Very rough start for Shazier. And they are running. Stolen base at third. Interestingly, the runner at first did not go to second. Still got the double play set up. Hopefully we can get out of this inning. That is a double play ball, and we got it. So 4 runs for Pittsburgh in the bottom of the first. We are going to have a lot of work to do to get this Buffalo team back into this game. But as some of you have noted, it seemed like we've won. I don't know if we've won every game on opening day over these. I guess this is our 9th season in Buffalo. I don't think we've won every game on opening day, but I want to say at worst we're 6-2, and I think we might be 7-1. And some of you have noted in the past that winning on opening day might be the kiss of death for our World Series hopes. So if that has really been the case, and we lose opening day and that means we're going to win the World Series, I will certainly take it. But we're going to still try to claw back into this game. Joe Edwards, the youngster, is playing third for us against left-handed pitching with Collier on the bench, and we'll see if Edwards can either draw a walk or maybe get a hit here to get things going. He hit the ball, but grounds out to short for the first out of the inning. Mike Heiner, the only lefty who's going to be in our lineup against left-handed pitching, last year's American League Rookie of the Year, or National League Rookie of the Year, and he was our first-round draft pick in 2032, so the college player made a quick progression to our minor league system and up to the majors, and looks like the second baseman booted that one, so we do have a runner on base, and Heiner has a little bit of speed, and he's a relatively proficient base runner in terms of stealing bases. I don't know that we're going to send him here. Gavin Grahovac up, and we'll let him hit away. And probably should have sent him because Grahovac strikes out, second out of the inning. And shortstop Tim Hull up now against Zane Adams. And Hull goes the opposite way down the first base, and a RBI, are they going to call it a double or a triple? RBI double, and he went to third on the throw. So Tim Hull with a clutch two-out hit to get a run back here for the Buffalo Wings. So that is nice to see. And Andres Medina, after a long and very circuitous route throughout his career, is the opening day starter at catcher for the Buffalo Wings here in 2034. And he goes down looking for the final out of the inning. But we do claw one run back on the big hit by the young shortstop Tim Hull. Hopefully we can get a couple of decent innings out of Shazier and have him turn this game over to the bullpen, with Pittsburgh only having 4 runs. He's going against their catcher, Edgar Zamora, here. And Zamora just rakes it to left field. So a single to start things off. Shazier definitely does not seem to have his best stuff today. Going against Stephen Kwan now, we'll set up to double play depth, see if we can coax a grounder. And Shazier with a walk. He just does not seem to have his good stuff today, particularly with the injury to Sabatka. That's particularly troubling for us, given that we need Shazier to be a clear number 1 for us this year. Does strike out Jackson Merrill for the first out of the inning. Now with 1 out, hopefully he can get a double play ball and get out of this little jam. But he's going up against a tough hitter in Max Clark, but a vintage, looked like it could be a 4.63 ball, but no throw over to first from Hull. So we did get an out, but runners on the corners here with 2 outs, and Steve Babb, the cleanup hitter, up for Pittsburgh. And Babb pops it out to right field for the 3rd out of the inning. So not the prettiest inning of the career of his for Shazier, but he did get out of it. And we've got the top of the order coming up here in the top of the 3rd. Seifu leading off against Zane Adams. And Seifu with a single to right field, goes the opposite way. And Deshaun Seifu being on base, you know what that means. They'll probably be throwing over, but we are still going to try to steal second with Seifu and get the runner into scoring position. And Seifu is in with his first stolen base of the season. So we've got a runner in scoring position for the youngster Nate Kimmel. Let him swing away now. And Kimmel grounds it to short, moves the runner over to third. So we've got a runner at third now with 1 away. And Tyreek Hardage, who had a hit in his first major league at bat back in the first inning, up with an opportunity to bring home another run. And Hardage looks like he'll probably get that done. Flies out to center field. Seifu with his speed scores easily. So we've cut the deficit in half, 4-2 lead for Pittsburgh here with 2 outs in the top of the third, and Shamar Jenneret, his second at-bat for the Buffalo Wings. And Jenneret laces that one to left field for his first hit as a Buffalo Wing. So we're starting to generate a bit of offense against Zane Adams. Hopefully we can get him out of the game at some point. Joe Edwards up now with 2 outs. And he draws the walk, as he is pretty adept at doing. So 2 runners on now for Mike Heiner. Big at-bat here. And Heiner strikes out. So a bit of a missed opportunity there given the way the inning started perhaps, but still got 1 run back. If we can get another scoreless inning out of Shazier, we'll feel like things are stabilizing a little bit for Buffalo. And for the first time, he's got the first batter out with a 4-3 grounder. 1 away, and Mike Wilson, the left fielder, up for Pittsburgh. And he grounds it to Tim Hull at short, throws it over to Grahovac, and 2 away now. And Ellis Cuevas up with 2 outs. Let's see if Shazier can get his first 1-2-3 inning. Whoa, that looks like he gave it a ride. Cuevas with a solo shot, so unable to get a clean inning out of Shazier, and Pittsburgh's on top 5-2. Sam Price now up with 2 outs, and Shazier does strike him out to get out of the inning, but unfortunately Pittsburgh scored 1 more on that solo shot down the right field line to take a 5-2 lead. Adams still on the mound here in the top of 4th. He's getting towards the danger zone where Shazier is also. We're going to let Grahovac lead off against him, obviously. And an old can of corn here popped up to the second baseman, it looks like. Tim Hull, who had the big double to drive in our first run of the game, here up in the top of the 4th. And Hull with his second hit of the day. So we've got a runner on first. Hull has a little bit of speed, but nothing exceptional. Don't know that this is the chance to run, or the time to run with him. We're going to let Andres Medina swing away. Medina strikes out. And that brings us back to the leadoff hitter, Dejan Seifu. Ooh, and they threw over, and Hull was able to move to second on the bad throw there from the pitcher. So that helps to have a runner in scoring position for Mr. Seifu. Let's see if he can make the Pirates pay. Little grounder to the pitcher, and we do not make them pay. A scoreless inning for our Buffalo Wings here in the top of the 4th. Shazier with 62 pitches. Would love to get at least 1 more inning out of him. He seems to have settled down a bit. Let's see what he can do against the number 9 hitter Zamora here. He struck him out, which is nice to see. So 3rd time through the order for Shazier, going after Stephen Kwan. And Kwan lifts it out to center. Hardage makes the play, 2 away. Don't want to jinx ourselves for a second straight inning by saying that we could get a 1-2-3 inning here. Last time they hit the home run off of us with Cuevas, but we're going to see if Shazier can get Jackson Merrill out here. And he does, strikes him out. So a 1-2-3 inning. Shazier settling down a bit. Don't know how much more we're going to get out of him, but good to see a relatively easy inning for him. Zane Adams still on the mound here in the top of the 5th against Nate Kimmel. Would be nice to claw at least 1 run back here in the 5th. But Kimmel goes down, strikes out. Tyreek Hardage now up. And the young center fielder drills that one. Tyreek Hardage in his first game in the majors, a solo shot here in the top of the fifth. So Hardage comes through, and we are slowly clawing our way back into this. Shamar Jenneret now up. Zane Adams still on the mound. He's definitely getting into the danger zone. Would love to see Jenneret punish him as well. And Jenneret looks like, oh, incredible catch in center field. I thought that was going to possibly be a single, but a diving catch. If he hadn't made that, that was probably a double, if not a triple. But 2 away, Joe Edwards up, Austin Nye on the mound, the right-hander now for the Pirates, and Joe Edwards drives a double to the gap in right center field. And Mike Heiner, the left-hander, certainly love to see what he can potentially do against the right-handed hitter, or the right-handed pitcher, Austin Nye. And it looks like that may be it. He flies out to left for the third out of the inning, but we do get another run back on the first Major League home run for Tyreek Hardage. So we're going to try to get one more inning out of Sincere Shazier here. Max Clark, the center fielder, leading off. Hot shot down to first, handled by Grahovac, 1 away. Going up against the right-handed batter Steve Babb, the cleanup hitter. And he pops it up to the second baseman Seifu, 2 away. And now the left-handed hitting Frank Herrera is up with 2 outs. And he singles to right field. So we weren't able to get a second straight 1-2-3 inning. The right-handed batter Mike Wilson. This probably is going to be it for Shazier one way or the other. We'll go ahead and see if we can get Wilson out here. Hot shot down to third. Wonder if that, I think that's probably a double, it looks like. And it's going to score the run, actually. Is it a triple? Wow. RBI triple for Herrera, so maybe we kept Sincere Shazier in too long. He's going to get Cuevas. So Cuevas flies out to right to end the inning, but Pittsburgh once again came back and got the margin back to 3 runs from 2 runs, which is unfortunate for us. The right-handed pitcher Austin Nye on now, so we are going to start probably doing some pinch hitting, and the first thing we are going to do is give Bobby Bolig the opportunity to have, actually we are not going to go with Bolig right now. We are going to go with Juan Estrada, because Estrada is a excellent contact hitter, and we want to get some base runners on here. So we are going to let the young 2-way player Juan Estrada pinch hit here against Austin Nye for Grahovac. And Estrada grounds out to second base, his first at-bat of the season. Tim Hull up now with 1 out, and he goes down, strikes out, and Andres Medina is up. We need some runs. And although Medina's better defensively, Rutschman's still better offensively, particularly against a right-handed pitcher. We are going to work this thing. We're going to bring Rutschman on for Mr. Medina and hope to catch some lightning in the bottle here with 2 outs in the top of the 6th. And Rutschman comes through with a single the opposite way to left field. And that gets us to Seifu at the top of the order with Rutschman on first base. And Seifu singles up the middle. Rutschman not a ton of speed though, so runners on first and second with 2 away. And they've got the righty on the mound. We've got the righty, Nate Kimmel. We've kind of got ourselves set up, perfect scenario for Bobby Bolig to have his first at-bat of the season against a right-handed pitcher here in a big spot. Let's see if Bolig can come through against the right-handed pitcher. Bolig flies out to left field to end the inning. So Wings do not score, and the Pirates up 6-3 as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning here in Pittsburgh. And obviously we've got some changes to make. Rutschman will become our catcher. Juan Estrada will become our left fielder. And Bobby Bolig will be the new first baseman. So only Cam Collier and Alejandro Mercado have not played yet. It is time to pull Mr. Shazier from the game. Ended up giving us 5 innings, not a classic performance with 6 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. We will go to the bullpen. And we are going to bring in Hayden Yinger, a longtime starter for us, now working out of the pen. Hopefully he can give us a couple of good innings. Yinger going up against Price, the number 8 hitter. Strikes him out. Number 9 hitter Edgar Zamora up. Yinger strikes him out as well. And now the 3 lefties in a row, so the matchup kind of moves in Pittsburgh's favor. But Yinger, I thought we might have a play there on Seifu, but a single by the leadoff hitter, Stephen Kwan. And now facing the number 2 hitter, Jackson Merrill. And that should be the final out of the inning. There we go. Seifu over to Bolig. And we head to the 7th, down 6-3. And here in the top of the 7th, the young center fielder, Tyreek Hardage, leading off. Would love to get a runner on base here. Going to have to start scoring some runs. And Hardage having a monster game. He homered his last time up, and a double that he's trying to stretch into a triple. Tyreek Hardage, the young center fielder, having quite a debut. So a home run and a triple for Hardage already. What else did he do for us? He's got a single as well. So Tyreek Hardage is just a double away from potentially hitting for the cycle in the first game of his major league career. More importantly, we got a runner on third with no outs, and Shamar Jenneret coming up. Seems like we're going to get some runs here. Ooh, not the way we wanted to, though. Jenneret got hit by the pitch. So runners on first and third. I wonder if that was intentional by Austin Nye. Doesn't want to face Jenneret and try to set up the double play. This Pittsburgh team is very dirty. Joe Edwards up. And Edwards, although we are typically only going to be starting him against left-handed pitching, is a guy who's pretty much equally proficient against left and right-handed pitching. That said, even though Edwards is pretty much just as good against both kinds of pitching, Cam Collier is certainly better against right-handed pitching, and he's also a bit better defensively at third base than Joe Edwards. So we are going to pinch hit here. This is a huge opportunity for us with runners on the corners and no outs, down 3 runs. Feel like we've got to put our best effort on the field right here. It's the top of the 7th already, so Collier going against Austin Nye. And he strikes out, so that is unfortunate. And Mike Heiner now up against the right-handed pitcher Marcus Johnson. So good that they didn't bring in a lefty with some of the moves that we've made to our lineup. See if Heiner, last year's Rookie of the Year, can get his first hit of the season in a big spot. And he does. So he drives in the run. Runners on first and second. Cut the deficit to 2, 6-4. Still probably need one more big hit. We've got Juan Estrada up for the second time. He's probably not going to hit the ball out of the yard. I don't think he's ever hit a major league home run yet. But he is a pretty good guy as far as getting on base, and we could just use a little bingo here, kid. And Estrada, oh, and everyone is safe. The third baseman tried to go to second, and not a good throw, so bases loaded. I can't see, did they call that a hit or a fielder's choice? It's like a fielder's choice or an error. 3 errors by Pittsburgh. So Tim Hull up with the bases loaded and 1 out. This is the opportunity that we have been looking for. They make the play at the plate. Tried to get the double play going back to first base. So the bases are still loaded, 2 outs, and we've got the clutchman up for us here. Big opportunity for Adley Rutschman. Would love to see the veteran come through here in the late innings on opening day. And he strikes out. So a lot of action there in the top of the 7th for Buffalo, but only 1 run scored when all was said and done. Head to the 7th inning stretch. Pirates 6, the Buffalo Wings 4. And as I mentioned, Cam Collier still going to stay in the game and go to third base. Only the young Rule 5 acquisition, Alejandro Mercado, has not seen action yet. Yinger going up against the number 3 hitter, Max Clark. And he strikes him out. Now Yinger up against Steve Babb. Strikes him out as well. And now Yinger against Frank Herrera, trying to strike out the side. Does not strike out the side. Looks like that one was crushed to right field. So for a 3rd consecutive time, we score a run in the top half of the inning and give it right back to Pittsburgh in the bottom half of the inning. So the Pirates extend their lead to 7-4 with the solo shot off of Yinger. And that was ugly. It's like a double down the line for Wilson there. I don't know that we can afford to give up any more runs. I mean, it may be, game may be out of control anyways. But we are going to go to Matthew Wenzel, the left-handed reliever. Try to get us out of this inning. And he does not. A single up the middle. And it got by the center fielder Hardage, 8-4. first error of the season, first error of the career for Hardage. That allows another run to score. So felt in the top of the inning that we might be making this game interesting, but we've got a lot more work to do now after giving up 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th, despite striking out the side between 2 pitchers. So we do have the batting order set up with the top of our order, but we're going to have to score more than 1 run to make this thing interesting here. We got Seifu leading off. Would love to get the speedster on base. And Seifu rifles one down the left field line. We got him on base with a double. So Seifu did his job. And Bobby Bolig now up. Bolig drives it to left center field. It looked like there was potential for a play there, but Seifu was running the whole time, so apparently he was not concerned about that play being made. Runner on second, and we've cut the deficit to 8-5. Tyreek Hardage, who made the error last inning, hopefully can come through with a hit. We mentioned earlier he is a double away from a cycle. Would be pretty crazy to have 3 consecutive doubles here to start off the 8th inning, but would love to see it. Hardage flies out to left for the first out of the inning. Still have a runner in scoring position for the DH, Shamar Jenneret. And Jenneret grounds it to short. They take the play to get the lead runner at third base with the fact that Bolig was running. So 2 away now. Runner on first for Cam Collier. And the ball gets away, so Jenneret is going to go to second. Collier up now with the runner in scoring position, and he strikes out. So got another run back, but we will be down by at least 3 when we get our last chance at coming back against the Pirates in the top of the 9th. But to get there, we're going to need Wenzel to go hopefully 1-2-3 here against Zamora and then the lefties. And he coaxes the catcher to a ground out to Bolig. Now going up against Stephen Kwan with 1 away. And Kwan singles right up the middle. Go back to double play depth, still see if we can get out of this inning without any pain. Jackson Merrill, that does look like a potential 4-6-3 ball, and we got it. So it'll be a 3-run deficit as we head to the top of the 9th here in Pittsburgh. And they brought on another right-hander, Cade Smith. Presumably he's their closer, although he only had 2 saves last year. But I think Cade Smith has been a pretty good pitcher in the past. Yeah, he is a guy who we had in Buffalo a few seasons ago for part of a season. Really hasn't been a regular closer since his brief time in Buffalo. But it looks like he's going to be the closer for the Pirates here today. Hopefully Heiner can get things started for us here in the top of the 9th. We need some runners on base. He strikes out Heiner for the first out of the inning. Juan Estrada now up. And Estrada, that looks like at least 2. Drives it to the gap in left field. Stand-up double for the young 2-way player, Juan Estrada. Tim Hull, the shortstop, now up with a runner on second. We are going to let him swing away. And he draws a walk. So runners on first and third here with 1 out in the top of the 9th. And the tying run is at the plate in the form of Adley Rutschman. I thought we were getting ahead of myself. Seifu's up next. The tying run at the plate in the form of Adley Rutschman. Can the veteran come through here? Another opportunity for him to come through with a big spot. Runners on first and second, 1 out, down 8-5. and Rutschman walks to load the bases. So now things are getting very interesting here against Cade Smith. Bases loaded for Deshaun Seifu here in the top of the ninth. Seifu gets one run in, but they got the out of Rutschman at second, so they will certainly trade a run for an out at this point. 8-6 lead for Pittsburgh, 2 outs, runners on the corners here in the top of the ninth, and Bobby Bolig is up. Can Bolig come through with a home run on opening day like he did a year ago when he was making his Buffalo debut? Doesn't look like it. He pops it up to third base, and that is the end of the game. So a pretty sloppy game. 3 errors by Pittsburgh, 1 by Buffalo. Also a lot of offense, 26 hits combined between the two teams. But the Pirates get the best of us where it matters. 8-6 victory for the Pittsburgh Pirates over the Buffalo Wings here on opening day of the 2034 season. Taking a look at our box score, Seifu was 3 for 6 with a couple runs scored and the stolen base. Hardage 3 for 4, 2 runs scored, 2 ribbies, a double and a triple while making his major league debut. Jenneret just 1 for 4 with a couple left on base in his Buffalo debut. And Tim Hull with a couple of hits for us, including that RBI in the middle innings of the game for us. Taking a look at our pitching, Shazier was not good. 7 hits and 3 walks over 5 innings. Yinger and Wenzel combined to allow 5 hits over the final 3 innings. Did strike out 10 batters combined, but the Pirates are losers on opening day of this 2034 season. And we will find out how the opening months of this season go in our next episode. Until then, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.